Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm excited to have Ellie O'Neill joining me. Hi Ellie.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. I've just got an echo there.
Oh,
Um, I just had a bit of an echo.
yeah, I heard it.
So a little bit about Ellie. So Ellie's an Irish Australian best-selling author. She writes commercial fiction and is the author of 4 books. Her new novel, which is published by Allen and Unwin, was released this month, and it is Family
Yeah,
Matters. I don't know if you can see my copy there. Yep, that's coming through okay. And her writing has been described as charming, whimsical, funny, and touching. To date, all of her books have been set in Ireland, and she's not entirely sure why. Australia has been home for over 10 years, but her storytelling blooms from the streets of Dublin. Her 2014 novel, Reluctantly Charmed, was a top 10 Australian debut and a bestseller. I love this part. After completing every book, Ellie announces to anyone with ears that she'll never write again. She is currently working on her 5th book and looks forward to dramatically throwing in the towel once more. I think we'll have to talk about that a little bit more, I
we can.
think.
We can. Yeah.
And just want to also say for people watching that if you do have a question for Ali, please type it in comments. And thanks to Ellen and Unwin, you'll have a chance to win a copy of Family Matters. So, welcome, Ali. Just wondering if you want to start off by telling us about Family Matters.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jackie. Yeah. So Family Matters is a generational story. I have 4 women all within the same family, and there is a grandmother character, a mother character who's kind of in her mid 50s, and then 2 granddaughters who are all going through, you'd call it kind of a crossroads in their lives. They all are approaching kind of various troubles, and it's how they come together, and the family kind of unites and they lift each other out of it ultimately. But they're coming across like quite a lot of drama. There's the elder character, Evie McCarthy, who is she's really struggling with old age, is one of the things that she feels like she's staring death in the face, and she's 79 years of age, and so that's what she's feeling at the moment. And then her daughter Yvonne is recently enough divorced, and she's finding it really difficult to stand on her own 2 feet for the first time in her life, even though she's in her mid 50s. But this kind of thing can happen, and so she's been striving for her independence, and now she has it. So she has what she wanted, and she's struggling with it. And so that's very conflicting, I think, for all of us, where you feel like you reached the goal, you've got to the point that you wanted to get to, and then it's not what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Yeah. And then the younger 2 daughters, there's Molly, who is a stay-at-home mom with her 2 young boys, and she's totally overwhelmed with motherhood. And again, it's the same thing, a little bit similar theme as Yvonne, where she has what she felt like she always wanted. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom. They're living in the right suburb, and she has a lovely husband, but things are just not working for her, and she doesn't know, and she feels like there must be something wrong with her because she should have everything. She doesn't. In her head. And then her sister is Rosie, and Rosie's kind of in her early 20s, and she's this very kind of gullible young woman, and she races head first into relationships. And she's in a relationship with this guy at the moment, and she has just started off a matchmaking app with him, so something kind of similar to Tinder. And she's all excited about it and everything, but then she gets really quite burned by her boyfriend and all of that. So that's kind of the theme, where you feel like you have what you wanted, and then it gets it's not what you think. So I have at the front of the book, took me a long time to write this line: sometimes giving up the life you planned gives you the life you're meant to have.
Yeah. So you wrote that
Yeah.
part. Yeah. No.
At the front of the book, the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
That took me ages to get right because I was like,
But it's
you know,
perfect though, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I liked the character Evie. She was very spiritual, wasn't she?
So she was the character that kind of both together for me.
Mm,
She she is, so for anyone who hasn't read the book, so Evie or Evie McCarthy is this older lady, and she is a town matchmaker in a small town in the west of
mm,
Ireland, and she has this, she calls it like a second sight, where she can see the kind of the inner essence of people, and is able to kind of match them. She's able to see, you know, if there's a partner for them, and sometimes there isn't a partner for them. Sometimes there is, you know, there is the light of love, and she loves when she gets to see that. So she conducts her matches in the snug, in the pub, in the local pub, and so couples will come to her, and it's kind of nearly like marriage counselling as well at some point in the book, and it's, you know, she's quite she's very spiritual, she's very wise. You know, she's lived her life, and she feels like she's coming at the end of her life, and she really wants her girls to see what's important in life, and to, yeah, that's her goal, kind of.
And is that quite a traditional sort of thing that little towns might have had someone like that in them?
Yeah. So when I was researching the book, so originally when I was kind of setting out the book, I wanted to write about my previous book was about an app, and I did a lot of research around apps, and you can't go near that kind of world of data without hitting like Tinder and all those. So then when I started looking at this next book, I wanted to do something else. So I started looking at matchmaking, and I started researching and found out that there was this history and this tradition in Ireland up until the 1950s, which is recent enough, of a matchmaker in rural communities who would bring couples together. And so what would kind of happen was that it was always a man. So I've taken a bit of liberty by
always a man.
It was always a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would have been very well known in the community, really quite respected.
Okay.
And the man's family, the groom's family, would come to him when he had hit a certain age. And a certain age was probably when he was ready to take over the farm. And they would come to him and say, he needs a wife. Can you find us a wife? And this was all done in the pub.
Oh, really?
So bottles of whiskey were passed hands, yeah. And then he would know of a suitable bride, and then there was the whole steps that they would do. I mean, it was effectively an arranged marriage. They were called must marriages, where they would put these two young people together, and but they could pull out at any time if the couple weren't in them. But I assume there was pressure from the families. Yeah, but they were called must marriages. But I remember, I don't know anyone, you know, it's a long time ago, but I do remember my granny talking about the two different types of marriages, that there were love marriages, love matches, and must marriages.
Okay.
So and it was nearly unusual the way she would talk about, like, she would say they were a love match. You know, that was not typical.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Yeah. And did you actually find anyone who was one in the past?
Who was a matchmaker?
Yeah. Did you find it?
No. But they do pop up in there's an Irish playwright, this very famous play called Sides, which is about that. About, like, they do pop up in kind of in culture and tradition. Like, there are stories about them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. We've got quite a few people watching, which is great. Just want to remind people watching again, if you do have a question for Ellie, please type it in comments and I can read it out, and you'll have a chance to win a copy of Family Matters, thanks to Ellen and Unwin. I do have some questions. So Wendy wonders if there was anything in particular that led you to writing this story.
Hi, Wendy. Anything in particular? So, like, when I was working on my previous book, The Right Girl, which is about an app, I did get very interested in the Tinder and, you know, and that idea. And I wanted originally to write something around a dating app. And so I started researching that. But as I'm researching, and this is often what happens with writers, my head became full of this character, Evie McCarthy, who was a 79-year-old woman. And she would not leave me alone. And I kept thinking, well, she's not the character. You're not on Tinder. Like, why are you talking to me? So I figured if I sit down and kind of start writing about her, she'd go away, and then I could get it into the real book that I wanted to write. But then she wouldn't stop talking, and she started introducing me to her daughter, her granddaughter, and then the granddaughter actually had an app, was building an app. So it kind of evolved. There wasn't like one moment, but it was the whole process.
Yeah. And Kathy says she knows you state that you don't know why your books are all set in Ireland, but do you think there is a richness in humour particular to the Irish people? And she said that she says this from someone who has Irish ancestry and loves to hear the stories passed down through family members.
Oh, that's lovely, Kathy, isn't it? I mean, there is a real richness in that, and in the, and how the stories become embellished. Like, that's really the beauty of it, and how, how your father told it to your grandfather, and then the story gets bigger and bigger, and then somebody adds in something else, and, it's lovely. I don't know, I've tried to, with this book that I was currently writing, I tried to kind of set something in Australia, because, like, Australia's home, but I found it very difficult. And I think part of it is that it's that I write in like what you call like Irish English. So it's almost like a different variant on the language as opposed to Australian English. Like if you pick up like a Tim Winton book, the way he writes, like it's so beautiful how he writes it. And I just wouldn't do it justice trying, so I've kind of got my wheelhouse now and I'm in it. And I think that works for me. But I don't know. So the native language in Ireland is Irish, and Irish has an awful lot of it has like there's a huge vocabulary in Irish, and it doesn't directly translate into English. So there's more words for. And I think that's why Irish people talk a lot. It just kind of it has evolved in that way. I don't know. It is what it is, Kathy.
Yeah. And could you tell us a bit about your writing journey to when you first got that first book published? Had writing been something growing up that you always thought you'd wanted to be an author, or?
Reading.
Yeah, reading.
Yeah, same as I'm sure everyone in your club there, Jackie, reading, just loving books and reading just everything, and just loving it and just falling into it. And I was in for a good, like years ago, I was working a job that I wasn't particularly interested in, and I found I was spending a lot of my day writing emails, but I was like friends, but I was writing stories.
Yeah, in your emails. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was really enjoying that. And that would get me excited to go to work. It was not a job. But it was the kind of how I'd let my mind wander and just kind of start writing emails and I was like, go for it. So at a certain point, that's when I I quit my job, but at the time I could quit my job. And, I was single, I was a lot younger, and I went and I moved back into my parents' house in Dublin, and thankfully I could. And I worked on my first book on Reluctantly Charmed. So I took that kind of risk to jump for that.
And what was your publishing journey like?
Same. I mean, a lot of authors are difficult. I wrote Reluctantly Charmed, and then it took me about a year to get an agent. I signed with an agent in the UK, and then she spent about, a year and a half, 2 years trying to sell it. She couldn't sell it. At that point, I'd moved to Australia, and then eventually the agent dropped me, which is what happened. I mean, it was a win to get an agent, and then she dropped me. So it was like, oh god. And then same book, I got an Australian agent, Jacinta, who's still my agent now, and she it was 5 years in all of trying to get it published. But
Mm.
she took the book, and within 5 weeks she had publishing houses done
Oh,
up against
really?
each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Mm.
5 weeks and 5 years.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's not an easy journey. Getting published,
Mm.
and
So
it's not easy to
what
write a book.
kept you going for those 5 years?
I felt like it was a good story.
Yeah.
I really believed in the book. Like I felt like this was a good story. This is a good book. I kind of didn't believe them when they rejected it. I don't know where I got that in my head. I didn't believe them. I thought, you're making a mistake. This is a good book. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. And I've got a good question for you from Wendy. Wendy says she loves visiting Ireland in the past, and she really loved the country and the people, and she wonders if you go home often.
Well, Wendy, guess where I am? Oh, do you know, I'm actually in a town called Gorey, which is about an hour outside Dublin at the moment. And we got here about 2 weeks ago, and it is the first time I've been back in Ireland in 3.5 years because COVID kind of pulled the rug out from all of us. But it's been a really, really wonderful reunion. Other than the fact that I got COVID for the second time for a week. So we'll ignore that. We'll push the restart button on that. But it's been, like, it's just wonderful to get back. Yeah, it's been great.
And are you doing a lot of writing while you're over there?
Well, I'm planning to. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Because I am working on my next book. But,
yeah.
Yeah. So
and it's set in Ireland again?
It's what, sorry?
Set in Ireland again?
It is, yeah, it is. I can't stop myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on the next one, and actually I'm going to research it. The new book is set in County Cork, if anybody knows that, down in the south of Ireland, and it's in a particular spot that I need to go visit and kind of research. There's a lot of folklore and tradition around this particular area that I need to go research. So I'm really looking forward to going down there, and I'll take some photographs and stick them up on my Instagram.
Oh yeah, no, that would be great to see. Yeah. And Sharon wonders if you have a writing routine and if you write every day.
Hi Sharon. I do my best is what I can say. Family Matters was written in snatches because my kids are very young. And ideally I'm sitting at my desk, but I try, my goal is to be sitting at my desk at 9 o'clock. And if I can write solid for 3 hours, like that's what I call kind of the creative writing, just free flow, not editing. If I manage to do that, that's a great day. You know, if I can get myself into the headspace for 3 solid hours. And then anything that comes after that is like, you know, editing or reading or, you know, other stuff on that. That's a win of a day.
Yeah.
So it depends on, like, you know, deadlines and pressure and that kind of stuff, and work, you know. There's so many other things that come into play. But yeah.
And do you have a favourite place to write?
I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, I don't need, you know, like laptop, the cafe, anywhere, you know, anywhere I can. Yeah.
And what about snacks and drinks while you're writing? Any favourites of them?
Coffee.
Yeah.
Far too much coffee. Yeah.
And Sharon also wonders what you like to read and if maybe you've got any recommendations for us.
Hi Sharon. So I think one of the best books I've read this year, if anybody else has read it, is the Kelly Rimmer book, The German Wife.
Okay, yeah. That's Kelly's new. Yeah.
Fantastic. Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Really, really super. I mean, God, she goes there. Like, it's emotional, and then the historical stuff, and it's just, that was one of the best books I've read this year. And I'm reading the Marion Keyes book, Rachel Again. Again, Rachel.
Yeah.
Which
I listened to that one on audio. It was good.
yeah, she's great fun, and it's because I'm on holidays. It's a lovely, you kind of skip through, and you've got her voice in your head, which is really lovely. Yeah, that's where I am at the minute.
No, thanks for those recommendations. Kelly wonders, what is the most unusual place you've written
I mean,
Great
I don't know,
question, Kelly.
yeah, like I don't know, like you do, like the laptop is brilliant, so the laptop on your knees in the
Yeah.
car. I've done that. Like, I did a lot with Family Matters. I would drop my son to kinder, and then I go to this little cafe that was a cafe and a carpet shop. So I don't know if that counts. I wrote most of this book in a carpet shop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And Kathy says she's reading The Right Girl at the moment, and she's really enjoying it. And I think you wondered if anyone watching has actually read Family Matters, didn't you? So if anyone,
I'd love to know.
yeah, if anyone watching has read Family Matters, please let us know. Kathy also says she loves stories that deal with women in the different generations within a family. And I'll have to say I really love that as well. And it sort of reminded me a little bit of like Rachel Johns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of that, and I love hers, and that's what I really loved about yours as well, that intergenerations. Kathy wonders if it is important to give equal strength to each of the women.
Yeah, Kathy, I thought so, because I feel like with those four women, like I always want my female characters to have that strength inside of them. I want them to find it themselves. I don't want a man to give it to them. I don't want I want it's like kind of for all of us. Like, you have to pull yourself out of these situations. It's up to you. And I'm really quite definite about that with my female heroines. Like that they are strong, all of them. And they may not even know it themselves, but that's part of their journey. And their circumstances are all different, but the answers are in them. And I think that's important. And I definitely, I never bring in the man. I never bring in the, to pull them out of the situation, because that's just not my book. I know that works great in other stories, but it's not what I do. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, when you finished Family Matters and started on your next book, did the characters still stay with you?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. You can't just put them to bed. Like, you can't just put them away. They're still buzzing around, going on their next adventure. Like they're still very much so.
Yeah. And what have you found to be the most difficult part of your writing process?
Well, honestly, the kind of the first draft of the book, I really struggle with, and I know a lot of other writers could just fly through that, but I don't plan, so I let the story just take me, and I can end up down like the cul-de-sac, the dead end. And that's very hard. Like, so the first draft just can go for a long time with me, and can go everywhere, and it's living in my head, and I find the first draft very hard. Love editing. I love the next stage.
Yeah.
I kind of run to that with the very first, getting the idea out. And it's also because I don't get the idea of the story sequentially. Like, I never get the beginning, middle, and end. It all just comes layered, and I've got to pick out the bits that work and don't work. And I struggle a lot with that. That's hard.
And Wendy says she hasn't read any of your books yet, but she actually was listening to another book club that was discussing Family Matters today as well.
Oh, no way! Oh, Wendy, well, great. Yeah. Did they enjoy it?
So she said that it's been getting great responses, so she really needs to read it now.
Brilliant, Wendy. I hope you enjoy it.
And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about how you celebrate when you finish your book, because we did speak about
It's a big a big come down, like a big, but you know, because it's such a long process. So for me, a big celebration is after I finish that first draft, because I know that's my hardest part. So I have been known to run out and buy a bottle of bubbles. So yeah, with this one, I think got a Thai takeaway and had a glass of prosecco. That was that's my life.
And what about telling everyone you're not going to write again?
Say all the time, and then I just start going, oh, another idea, I'm kind of thinking about something, and then because this first stage is so hard for me. It's so hard. So I think, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this again? And and so yeah, so this this book that I'm working on, which is my last book at the moment. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And when you first start up, could you tell us how you first start? Like, does plot, characters, or location come first? And how do you go? A bit like I've seen some authors, they have like little sticky notes everywhere. Some have boards they use. What's your process?
Oh God, like my husband has bought me so many whiteboards and post-it notes, and has been saying, for years, just put it out there. It'll be easier for you. Just put it there. And I'm like, I just don't work like that. I have notebooks that I just start scribbling in, like reams and reams of notebooks where I have maybe the seed of an idea, and I just try to nut it out and see where it goes. And it'll go everywhere. It'll go everywhere. And then there might be something that comes through that I feel I'm interested in her, or a character that I feel like this, I'm interested in this. So I don't think about like what will my readers be interested in, or what will, I don't think like that at all. I think about what's making me excited. Yeah. And I follow that. So that's really where it goes with me. It has to be, because also I have to live with the book for years. Yeah. And yeah, I've got to be really interested in it, and really, and it's the same with the characters that I develop. Like they have to be someone that I want to meet. Like I want to have a cup of tea with. I want to hang out with, because I'm going to live with them for so long. Yeah.
And without any spoilers, because I think it sounds like probably no one watching has said that they've read Family Matters. So lots have said they want to read it, but I don't think any have read it. Without any spoilers, what would you say was your favourite part of the book?
I really I really enjoyed writing Ellie McCarthy, the older lady, and the matchmaker. I loved getting into her skin, and she was so wise. She is so wise, and when she experiences a match, like when she sees, she talks about it, like in terms of like when she sees love, and when she sees that these souls unite, and that she just stands on the periphery of it and gets to enjoy it. I just loved being in that moment, and how much she appreciates that, because when I was looking at the dating apps and everything, like it feels, and I know there's loads of successes on the dating apps in terms of people meeting, but it feels kind of harsh, like that you have this scientific algorithm who's matching people. So I really wanted like the opposite of that. So to have this big warm-hearted woman who is just bubbling over with love, and so excited to put love in together, in every form. So I really enjoyed that character.
Yeah. And what about, like, it does only come out in June, so might not be too much chance of that. But what sort of feedback have you been getting from readers? Have you had any readers come back with you with any interesting stories after reading your book?
It's been really, and again, it is early, but everything I've had, it's just been so positive. Like that people have really engaged with the characters, and and also I think, and I know because you've read it, Jackie, but it doesn't end. A lot of the character stories don't end the way you think they might end. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. So I've I've heard like people were kind of surprised with the, there was there was kind of the way I could have finished it all, like all of you could see where it could have gone, and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that was.
That's what I think I liked. I liked that about your book as well. That it didn't, like some books just end how you think, and you think, oh yeah, that was nice, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so
yeah, yours didn't. Yeah, which I enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just slightly, just a little bit unexpected, I think, how it ends. But so there was a bit of feedback on that, because you never know. Sometimes with some of my books, I can get pushback when I push it a little bit, like, and the reader isn't mad about it. But actually, so far, it's been really positive. So I'm really pleased. Yeah, it's obviously resonating with people, so that's fine.
And what do you hope readers will love about Family Matters?
I hope they have that lovely feeling. Like, I hope they, close it over and have really nice, like that they've lived in the world, and that they've kind of fallen in love with the characters, and just close it over with that was lovely. That was really enjoyable. I was into it. Yeah.
And Kathy wonders, if you get stuck with the character development, how do you move forward?
With difficulty, Kathy. Yeah. I play out a lot of scenarios, and I have conversations with the characters, and I go back into reimagining them, and how, and why can't they move forward? What happens with so a lot of conversations with these imaginary characters, and then maybe going back and rebuilding their lives in my head, so I have a better understanding of them, because if they can't move forward, I don't know them well enough. So I've got to do more work on them.
And do you sound things out with like your family or friends?
My two sisters, who I'm here with, are both writers, and they're my first go-to.
Yeah.
Because they're very honest, which you only get with sisters. So she's very honest. So they're my first go-to on everything. Yeah.
No, that's great. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me. Do you want to let people know how they can keep in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and I went quiet there for a little while because I had COVID, and I didn't want to put that up to spread bad news. But I'm going to, because I'm in Ireland, so I'm going to try and put up more photos of Ireland and that kind of
it would be great to see. Yeah, great to see some photos.
We've all been so starved to travel, and so I think I'll
we like living through other people's experience.
I know. I've been doing it too. Yeah. So so Instagram and Facebook, and then I have a website as well, ellieoneil.com. Yeah, and I'd love to hear from readers. I'd love to hear if you read Family Matters and how you felt about it, and it'd be lovely.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks to everyone who joined in. We had some great questions.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining, and Jackie, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.